You are probably pruning your tomato plants wrong.
To prune or not to prune tomato plants? That is the question.
Pruning tomatoes, a heated topic in the gardening world. Is it really necessary? And how do you do it? Let's dive in, growers. Pruning isn't necessary. I understand if you're skeptical. After all, I once let my hair get like Harry Potter in the Goblet of Fire.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, maybe more than once. But I think my results from 2020 speak for themselves. I let my big beef plants go hog wild, kept in check only by their rusty homemade cages. Leaves are like green solar panels, so contrary to popular belief, the suckers on your tomato plants don't really suck energy out of the plants at all. Whether you prune or not really depends on the support system you decide to go with. Most tomato varieties are naturally vining and need a structure to keep them upright. If you use a trellis, pruning is mandatory to keep the vines growing in line, which is why, in this case, letting your plants bush out is not only completely acceptable, but encouraged. I like both caging and string trellising. For the string trellis method, I trim my plants to 1 or 2 liters. For double stem, I keep the fork, or the side shoot, below the first fruit cluster, as this one tends to be the strongest. You are the architect of your tomato garden. There's no right or wrong per se. That being said, if you live in an extremely hot and sunny climate, not pruning can actually be very beneficial because it'll help keep the fruits shaded, which will prevent sun scald. Whenever you're pruning, act like a surgeon. What I mean is you should always sterilize your pruning snips with some alcohol between plants. This will mitigate the risk of transferring any possible viruses or bacteria throughout your tomato garden.
Can I get bonus points if I act like I care?
I recommend trimming off any lower leaves later in the season to keep your plants fresh and avoid soil splashing up onto these lower leaves and traveling through the plants. When the side shoots are young, you can pluck them off easily with your thumb and forefinger. For bigger boys, get out your snippers for a nice clean cut.
Target locked.
Mission accomplished. A good day's work.
If you're feeling ambitious, you can even root your side shoots for additional plants. So, for all my string trellising pals out there, you gotta build a simple DIY trellis. I find pine 1x1s work great. You can cut a point on one end, pound them into the ground, and tack them together with some screws. This method is super affordable, and you can reuse the components for a few years until you have to replace the wood. Loop some twine around the bottom of your tomato plants once they're about a foot tall, and tie it off at the top beam, leaving a loop to adjust the slack later in the growing season. Simply spiral the stems around the twine as they grow, and you'll be laughing all the way to the bank, or out of the bank if you're a money heist mastermind. But to be honest, the taste of homegrown tomatoes is absolutely priceless. At the end of the day, match your pruning method to your support method, and you'll be just fine. When your tomato plants have what they need, it won't matter either way, and it really boils down to personal preference. Hope this helps, and just remember to always grow tomatoes, not a Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire hairstyle.